Welcome, everyone. Stephan Baere from S&S Activewear. I'm here today in shop with the Senior Vice President at STAHLS, Josh Ellsworth. Thanks, Josh, for taking the time and meeting with us. You know, we met at your heat press event, and we were not only an attendee, but also participating in it. And I just found it fascinating with all your machines and how quick it is and effective. So really appreciate the time today and educating us on how to do some difficult product. So can you tell us a little bit about STAHLS?
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, thank you to S&S and you for having me, Stephan. I'm so excited for our time together today as we help decorators succeed and solve problems. And that's the start of who STAHLS is. We are the world's leading manufacturer of heat presses. And the reason why is our heat presses and the way we build them really allow a customer to decorate anything. And we're going to illustrate that here today. But in addition to heat presses, we manufacture heat transfer vinyl that we'll use today, screen printed transfers, dimensional logos, more or less all of the products that go onto apparel with a heat press. That's STAHLS.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so as a supplier of over 65 brands, you know, we have retail inspired designs. And so when I started thinking and we started talking, I was running through all these, you know, ideas of, hey, can you print this and print that? And not once did you ever say, well, send it to me and, you know, I'll see what we can do. It was send it, let's get it done. And I love that. And I started thinking of our distributors. They look at our product and sometimes it's straight from retail and they go, well, how do you decorate it? I love it, but you know, I don't know if we can decorate it. So after the heat press event, I saw a lot of items that were unbelievable. So we put together some items today to kind of take a look at and work with you live in the shop. And so excited. And I hold my breath all the time, but it comes out, you know, 100%. We're going to start today with some of our clear items. So we have clear totes. And the first question is, God, I love it. It has such great use for what I'm looking at. But I can't even begin to think about how do I decorate it without melting it, right? And we also sent in the clear category, the Augusta Adult Rain Jacket, which, you know, is used a lot on the team, on the field when that rainstorm comes through and cheerleading and team sports, and you just throw that over. So the clear category is very interesting, and we have a lot of myths out there like, oh, it's just going to melt. So we'll bring that to fact. And then we're going to jump into really just year after year growing category, headwear. One of our top brands in headwear, hugely popular, is Richardson. And they've come out with 12 new styles just this year. And there's a 935, the Rogue Cap. This thing is water resistant, you know, 100% poly, big mesh cap. I mean, the thing even floats, right? So how do we get a decoration on that unstructured buckram to, you know, make it effective and then get it wet? And then you have the visor. Visors are hugely popular, but with a 2¼ inch crown, sometimes it intimidates people. So we're going to look at that with you. Very excited. And then the cable knit beanie, we have that. So this has a lot going on in it. You can see a lot of patterns. So there's a lot of questions there as well. And then we're going to jump into another popular item, but it gets intimidating for folks. And that's the popular Windbreaker from Independent Trading, the EXP54. And so at 100% poly and has water resistant features, there's questions there. So looking forward to that. And then if we have time, we have some an item from Boxercraft, and this is our fuzzy fleece. So this is now when I reference retail inspired type items, you know, it has some challenges in there. A quilted pattern, you have the nice button detail, but how do you decorate it? So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Josh and let him work the magic. So excited.
Yeah, and just so you know, we do make mistakes, and that's part of the fun of heat printing and pushing the limits. Our goal is to make those mistakes, make them in a safe environment, because really what we want to do with our heat presses and with our transfers and education is equip you to just say yes to any job. So we're going to have a lot of facts today, hopefully not many myths as we go through this, but let's start over here at the heat press. I have a couple presses with me today. I have the Hotronix auto open clam. But you know, really one thing I want to point out on this press and any heat press is you really want this cantilever design. Being able to split your item open and get it flat onto the press is going to equip you as a decorator, or equip your decorator to be able to print items accurately. So when you consider that, and you consider the interchangeable bases that are quick and easy to change, these are two critical things that you're going to see us use throughout the day. And so this is the full 16x20 base for full front t-shirts. But I mean, we know, Stephan, some of the high profits in these accessory items, and when people get afraid to print, that's usually an opportunity to create some uncontested market space. And so we like using these small little attachments. Here's a little 6x10 inch. I'm going to slide that on, and I'm going to use that for a couple of these clear products. And the other tool in our toolbox that we're going to use for these is called a heat press pillow. So at STAHLS TV, we educate on all of these things to teach you how to print them. But just know there's a lot of different tools for the job to help you get this done accurately. So we look at this clear bag. We're nervous. Is it going to melt, right? And I've melted plenty of these in my lifetime and onto the heat press. And so that's how we get to a good, successful result. Something I figured out is this clear actually has a pouch. So when you load this, you really want to get to a single layer of clear, because otherwise you're going to melt the two clear layers together and we won't have a very functional bag. And so in order to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and insert my pillow in between these two layers of clear. Okay, so I'm just set it down here so I can work with it a little better. I'm going to just slide my pillow in, and that's going to prep my print area and create a single layer. Now, the other issue I have here is there's a lot of seams and buckles and zippers with this bag. And so being able to split that bag open and do what we call threading it onto the lower base, and that's splitting it open onto this lower base and getting it loaded onto the machine. Again, I'm trying to keep your camera view good, so it's not quite as smooth as it is in production, but I get that loaded here. And that gives me this nice, clean print area to begin working with. Now, one thing I like to use all the time if I can, especially when we're working with a clear item, is a cover sheet. That helps to protect your heat press investment, making sure if you do melt it, you throw away a little cover sheet, you're not going to mess up the heat press. Okay, so I'm going to position that into place, and I want to show you on the control board, I have my temperature down at 230 degrees. I know that's tough to see, but it's at 230 degrees right now. Okay, and I have my time at 12 seconds. And so these bags start to melt and impact at around 240, 250 degrees. So the fact that we've created adhesives that can apply down at those applications, that's really what's helping to power the ability to say yes and do these jobs. So this says, this is my small tote. The product is Ultra Weed. It's a heat transfer vinyl that you can order a design already made in one or two colors, or you can buy a roll of vinyl and cut it if your decorator has a vinyl cutter. And so I'm just feeling to feel where my pressure spot is on this. And I want to make sure that my design is being positioned where I'm going to achieve pressure. And then there's a couple things I want you to think about here. So when you're using heat transfer vinyl or any transfer, you have this clear edge that's the carrier sheet. That edge tends to want to leave indent marks on soft materials like this clear product. And so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to just tack it down just for a few seconds, okay? Just for a few seconds, because I want to get that carrier away from there, because I really don't want to indent this product permanently. So I give it a few seconds. I'm going to work my finger up to the corner, and I'm going to delicately, at a 45-degree angle, peel away. And now I have it temporarily held enough where I'm going to get rid of that clear carrier. That goes in the garbage. Then I'll take my cover sheet, put it back onto the bag, and now I'll complete the full application. In this case, you can run it at the full 12 seconds. This isn't an item that's going to be laundered, so I think 6 seconds is plenty of application on a non-wearable item like a bag. It's going to stick, it's going to stay, and you're going to get great durability. Now, after it's been applied, I'll remove it. And then we want to get this pillow out of here. Now this is pretty hot right now, okay? And so the plastic's very soft after it's been heated. So it's not a bad idea to kind of break this bond and give it a few seconds before you remove the pillow. And so if you're running, let's just say, 50 of these or 100 of these for a promo event or for a game or whatever it might be, what I'd recommend is having multiple of these pillow tools. So you can throw this to the side with the pillow in it, load, print the next one, etc., until you're ready to go. And then once it's all cooled down, you remove the pillow, and we can see we have a very high-end, completed result.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty neat, huh?
Yeah.
So, and then, you take that concept and it just translates over to the rain jacket as well. So while I load this and kind of run through those same steps, this one's a little bit easier because it's very easy for me to get down to a single layer. I'm just going to unzip it, and it's a single layer now. And I can, for a left chest application, I can just load that onto my press, letting the bulk hang off the edge, getting down to that single layer. And then I can, again, run the same exact steps. Take my design. I want to show you a really detailed design on this one. So you see this thin lines and free floating detail. I just position that. And honestly, we don't have a lot of space here as I'm doing this in a small area. I usually position that off of the press and then just bring it to the press already positioned. That way you can kind of see the full jacket when you're lining it up. But again, same process. Now, because I removed the pillow, I'm going to need to just increase that pressure a little bit to make sure I'm going to get good contact here for that tack down. Again, I'm just going to pop it a few seconds and remove that carrier so I don't permanently impact the bag. And then I'm going to, sorry, I just got a little something that came over with the carrier sheet from where I trimmed them apart. It just peels right off. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish the application. Again, I want to be careful because these plastics tend to get soft and supple and want to stick to itself when you're removing it. So that's the toughest part, in my opinion, of this whole job is actually removing that and not letting the plastic touch itself until it cools down. But I'm going to bring it close and hold it up here. I mean, look at that detail. Even the small dot of an eye is staying on there. It's even tough to see on camera.
Yeah, no, it's great.
So
that's freaking easy. I like it.
Yeah, pretty neat stuff. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. My heat press needs to heat up from 230 degrees. So I'm going to start that process and take it all the way up to 280 degrees for my next application. And then while that's working to heat up, we won't lose any time because we have a lot to fit in. So we're going to head over to the cap press, right?
Nice.
Good. So we'll put my cover sheet and everything here, clean up my space a little as we're moving. And let's head over to the hat press to talk about this popular line of Richardson headwear. So what is really cool about this hat press? This is new technology, guys. So if you haven't been able to decorate these items in the past accurately with the heat press, that's why it's important to watch this to take another look. Because a couple things we've done. Number one, this is a Hotronix 360 IQ hat press. We've created it so it not only heats from the top, but now it heats from the bottom. And that is critical to being able to apply hats, any hat, frankly, but certainly hats like this 6-panel with a seam without getting any marking on the hat, structured hats as well. And so this is a silicone molded base that's actually 320 degrees right now underneath, but it's kind of like a soft landing pad. So those seams sink down in, and it's a fact that you can print directly over the seam now. And so to decorate this one, it's, it's unstructured, as you mentioned. You said it floats, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's water resistant. It's a real outdoors hat. And I mean, you can crumple it up and put it in your back pocket. I mean, it's fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So to print it, we're going to flip the sweatband out always because, again, getting our area as flat as possible is important. So I'll just flip that sweatband. You see how it's coming down over the edge here. And then I'm just going to kind of pull it to flatten the front of it as flat as possible. But we give you this little snap hold down device on the side here that locks that into place. So it's not going to move when you're positioning your design. Now,
so that keeps it real tight.
Yeah, it's tight. There's no gap in between the hat and the base at all. And So a couple different things, like if we can just pan down here, we have our touchscreen control board. It's tough to see because all the lighting in studio, but I have the lower heat at 320 degrees and I have the top heat at 280 degrees. Okay. And then these products like a leather patch, these are extremely popular, right? So you can see it's like a engraved leather. You can get a lot of detail in the design. This leather patch has a heat activated adhesive on the back. This is very tough to apply with just top heat, but because we have bottom heat, I can position this patch. I just hold it in place for a second here just to get that adhesive to warm up and hold against the hat so it's not rocking side to side on there. And then we have a special cover pad. It's a thin cover pad. You can see it's beat up. I've applied a few leather patches with it. We're just going to lay that on top. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock the press down for 30 to 45 seconds. I'm going to pull it down to 30 seconds here on the control board.
So you can set that time?
Yeah, you can set the time, temperature, and pressure all through the touchscreen control board. It's really awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, and so, 30 seconds, I say, takes a little bit of time. I have a lot of people, once they buy one, they operate two machines side by side and they never let anybody see them use the machine. Certainly not a customer, because it's so easy to do. You would think it would be more difficult, but it's just not. So it's about to open for me. Automatically opens and drops your pad off for you. Now I'm just going to unlock the lever. I'm going to gently remove the hat. And keep in mind, this adhesive was just at 320 degrees. So you don't want to start peeling it right away. You want to let it cool down. But I mean, it's on there. The hat isn't marked at all. There's no creases, no scorches.
So clean.
Yeah, it's durable too. So I think
that's very cool.
Yeah,
it's straight out of retail looks.
And it's easy. A lot of people think they need to sew leather patches on. The only reason you've needed to sew in the past is because we haven't had this technology, which is new last year, 2020. So it's still fairly new to the industry. So people can get a jump on this. And then you said the visor, like what challenges are people having with visors that you're seeing out there?
It's really just the intimidation factor of not enough space. It's a 2¼ inch there. And people are like, oh, that's a little too tight to get the speed that they need to get, a large volume order out.
Yeah, and then when you think about it for printing, it's tough to see, but the sweatband takes up, half of that space too. And so when you're approaching an item like this, you're right, graphic size is everything, and making sure you get that flat print area is everything. And so what we pride ourselves on with this platen, we say it'll print any hat out there other than really small kids ones that won't fit over it. But any adult hat out there, I can flip this open. Again, I'm just going to pull it on. I always want the edge of that bill coming down to the edge of the platen. I'm going to lock the hold down device in place to get good contact. And then I'm going to take my design and I'm going to introduce yet another product that's really cool for headwear. This product is called Soft Foam. It's good for apparel as well. I'll show you on the finished hat up close, but it's dimensional. It's actually a thicker product that looks like a high definition screen print, which really has a high perceived value on these hats. And so I'm going to position that into place on the hat. Just again, holding it for a couple seconds to get good contact. The toughest thing is keeping designs like this straight when you're loading them. So you want to take your time there and kind of measure twice, cut once, or measure twice, press once. And then we're going to lock that down. Again, for the 280 degrees on top, 320 on bottom. This is the magic recipe. I mean, we're pressing all sorts of things at this recipe for the 30 seconds. This one's more of a cold peel. So I'm going to remove it before I remove that carrier from the backing. So pretty neat stuff. Visors, unstructured, structured caps, and you said beanies we're going to get to here in a second as well, right?
Yes, that's great. I love it. I love it when it pops open.
Yeah, that's when we count the money, when it pops open.
Yeah, I like it. Next, yeah.
Yeah, and so we remove that, and then since we're on a time frame, I'll try to peel a little sooner. There we go. Just peels that, cools down a little bit, remove the backing. Uh-oh, I didn't get a, so here we go. This is a teaching point. So let me show what happened there. When I was lifting it, you see how my letters started to peel up? That's supposed to say meadow and have a golf thing. What that means is I didn't get enough pressure. And so nothing's ruined yet. I just need to stop right then. I'm going to just load the cap back onto the machine. I'm going to lock the hold down device back in. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to increase the pressure. And so up on the top of this heater, there is a pressure adjustment knob. I'm running at a 3 on this. My last hat was a little bit thicker. I probably need to increase that pressure. So I'm just going to turn that knob clockwise. Okay. And this actually has a pressure indicator on the control board. So I was on a 3 last time. Let's lock this down. Now I'm on a 7 on the control board. That 0 to 9 scale, basically a 1, 2, or 3 is a light pressure, 4, 5 is 6 is a medium, 7, 8, 9 is a firm. And so now I'm running it, it's like toggling between a 6 and a 7. I'm running it more on the medium to firm side, and I think I'm going to have a better result. If not, I'll just increase the pressure. Once I get it locked in, then I can run my whole job at those settings. So that's something to watch out for. That you can always save it though, right?
Yeah, no, it was real time.
Yeah, I told you I didn't practice any of these beforehand. We wanted to do it live, and that way we can navigate these issues along with the folks that are watching. And so we will let that cool down just a little bit this time. I won't rush the process since I had a challenge. And while that's cooling, I'll grab this cable knit beanie. So talk about this. This is tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, people love it because it has such a nice fashion feel to it. And then they look at the cable knit and go, how am I going to add value on that and decorate it? You know?
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a couple products I like for beanies. So when you're considering this, you got to think of like, this is a pretty open weave or fiber or whatever you want to call it. So getting coverage over this is important. You really don't want to create a design that has really thin lines. When this stretches, it's probably not going to look the best when it's applied or when it's worn. And so when I'm decorating items like this, I really love a patch product because it's just a little more robust and gets good coverage and kind of matches the feel and the style. And so I'm going to show you 2 patch products here. It's actually a product called CAD Prints Twill. And there's 2 styles here. There's a textured twill, which is this one. That's more of like a traditional twill fabric. And so a polyester twill grain. And then there's a textured twill that's more of a shiny and you get kind of a thinner, more stylish element to it. I love both of these products, but because I want something to cover these, this thicker cable knit, I'm going to go ahead and select the CAD Prints Perma Twill to get that type of coverage. And we went with a breast cancer awareness sort of theme as an opportunity here, but you can order whatever custom logo you want in this style. And again, same process, except this time we're just going to load the beanie on. Excuse me. Load the beanie on, get to our application area. When I'm doing beanies, I do like to preheat a little bit just because the heat doesn't travel through them as quick because they are a little bit more thicker of a fabric. And so it doesn't hurt just to kind of hold the heater down against it without locking it down to preheat it for just a few seconds. And then you can take your patch, position that into place in the exact location that you want. You have about
sorry, John, does that come back to the that it's 100% acrylic, that you just got to get a little heat?
Yeah, I mean, acrylic's tough. And acrylic is very heat sensitive, but it's more about the thickness of the item. So the heat from underneath doesn't travel through quick enough to get you a good base to reach that adhesive. I put a little special cover sheet that comes with this transfer because this is sublimation ink. And so if you know about sublimation, you know once it's heated, that'll activate and want to bleed up to the heater. So that's just an extra layer of protection before I put my pad on there and then complete the application. So while that's counting down, this one should be good to go. Let's hope for good results here. I'm going to grab the corner and start to peel away the backing. Yeah, we had a pressure issue there. We have good results this time. So when it's applied correctly with the right time, temperature, and pressure, you will get good results. If you don't, you can always stop and save it and know that you need to address one of those concerns. Let me see if I can hold this up and get the texture in it. You can kind of see.
Fantastic.
Yeah, standing off of there. It's pretty thick. So this one's easy. It's automatically opened, and I'm going to just remove it from the press. Notice I didn't even use the hold down device because it kind of just rests there. and then we have that patch. Again, I'll want to let it cool down before I stretch it, but you have, you know, good coverage there, something that'll look good that when it's worn with the hat, it's going to just look like, you know, it's intended to be there, part of the design.
So clean. I like it.
So that's what we had for headwear. So let me lay out the products here for you so we can take a look at all of the completed results, and then we'll move back to the actual press. So I have, get the hats that's decorated. So do you want to review the styles one more time in case people are interested?
Yeah, so the Richardson, thank you. The Richardson Rogue hat is the 935, and then you have the cable knit Richardson beanie, and that is the 138, and then the 712 from Richardson, the trucker visor. So they look great. So
excellent. Yeah, happy with all those. So our heat press in the back should be, yeah, we're 280 degrees. So we can keep working our way along. Let me remove these clear items that have been resting here.
Yeah, so that's the adult the Augusta jacket, rain jacket, and then we have the clear tote from OAD. So very clean. I like it.
All right, and what's the story on this one? This is independent trading. I know people are intimidated by jackets.
And so this is their popular EXP Expedition line. This is the EXP 54. And it's just a windbreaker that's super functional, lightweight, easily packed up on the go, tons of colors. Here we have one of the new safety colors that we sent out that was just added to the line. And it's just, the price point is excellent and the functionality is, you know, it fits everywhere in every program.
Yeah, I like it. It's and again, we're going to use the same strategy where I'm just going to split and load that. You see how that jacket, because I have this heat press on a stand, it's wanting to shift and move. Well, that's an easy fix, guys. All you need to do is take this little slip cover off of the bottom platen, and this original pad has a little more grip to it. And so when I'm decorating a job like this, I'll just slide that off for this job, and then I'm going to load my item on, and now I have something that's going to grip and not let my jacket slide on and off. Now the toughest
that's immediately, you know, because it's a thin windbreaker, fully functional, but that's what we call the myth of you know, people being intimidated. Like, I love it, but how am I going to get that added value on there? So
yeah, two difficult things about polyester. One, it wants to scorch, and two, it's typically more difficult to stick to. But we've designed, again, we're going to use this little dockside marina transfer. We have tons of products, so we call this heat transfer vinyl. There are digital transfers if you have a full color design. Let's just say there's an assortment of transfers that will work on this. Just like this, all you really need to do is have the right tools and the right accessories. Again, I'm going to use that little tack it down method. So because these smoother polyesters, these water repellent ones, they want to leave like indent marks from the carrier. So using a product that you can just tack down real quick, not remove it from the press, just peel the backing off, and then be able to finish the complete application like that. That's going to make your life a lot easier when you're decorating or selling these jobs. So quick, easy, clean. I say heat printing is one of the most scalable technologies out there because I can do one or I can do 1,000 very quickly, very easily.
great.
So here we go. We'll take I'll bring this over to the table so we can get a better close-up look that seems to work better. This one wants to blind the camera. It's so bright.
Yeah.
But it looks good.
No, and I just love the detail. And it's great.
Yeah, now I know we're approaching what looks like the 30-minute mark. What do you think? We have some socks here, and I have the Boxercraft garment. Do you have one you'd like to see? That you think
You know what? Socks would be fantastic. That's the SE 100 from SOCCO. And, you know, we've carried this awesome brand. It's made in the USA. Everything they use in the factory, the way they box it, the tape even is all USA made. And a lot of people, they love the quality of the sock. But when it comes to decorating, again, it's like, I love the socks. Maybe I'll just sell them as is. But you want to add that value. So how do we get that done? I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do the socks. So I could certainly use this attachment, but I like to be as efficient as possible. So doing 2 socks is better than doing 1 sock at a time. So I'm going to load my 16 by 20 attachment back into the machine, lock it back into place. I'm just going to adjust my pressure to make sure I'm good for the platen that I have loaded. Now the product I'm going to use, I think, is perfect for socks. It's perfect for fleece. It's called Soft Flock. Soft Flock. So it's actually a fiber or a textured product that, again, comes in different colors that you can cut. I'm going to do a Lucky Charm design, like a St. Patrick's Day inspired sock, since we had the crew socks with the green striping. And you know, you can print the side of the sock, you can print the bottom of the sock. I have customers that want to do it different ways, but either way, just lay them both out. Got to think, are socks, they're not reversible, so I want to get to the outside of both socks. So this one's going to be on my right foot. That's the toughest part, which means that side.
Yeah.
All right. This one's going to be on my left foot, which means that side, because I want my designs to be on the outside. So think through that. Let me preheat certainly on this just to check my pressure. Yeah, see, socks are thick, so they add a lot of, just got to adjust it back. Want to make sure I'm getting pressure, but I don't want to over apply the pressure and smash the item. So accurate pressure is key.
Well, this is great because you're doing both. You're doing the pair at the same time. And I would have thought for sure that you have to do them one at a time. So
yeah, actually, what's going to blow your mind, if you had a big job for this, think about how many you can do at a time. If you space them like this, you can actually do 8 at a time, depending on the print area. So yeah, so pretty neat. I'm just going to put this Lucky Charm design. I'm going to put it on the green so it kind of stands off on both socks. Again, I'm going to cover it up, and then I'm going to apply for the recommended time, temperature, and pressure for that soft lock material. And so if you haven't gathered it by now, every transfer has its own recipe. So I like to say the transfer is your frozen pizza that you pick up at the grocery store, and the heat press is the oven. And so the pizza is going to tell you what to set the oven for. And so make sure you follow the instructions. So these are applied. It's a warm peel, so I'm going to try to peel it while it's still hot here. There we go. Yeah, so just pause and peel if it calls for a warm peel. Give it about 5 seconds. Peel it, and let me bring these ones again over to the table so we can get a close-up look of the result.
wow.
Yeah, it looks sharp. And Flock has that soft textured feel to it. So it's actually a fuzzy, almost velvety feel to it. So it matches real nice. And once it cools down, this product has no problem, you know, stretching and flexing with the sock. I know a lot of people are worried about that,
Sure.
but you can still see it. I like pressing the sock when it's not stretched out. A lot of people try to stretch them before they press, but I think it looks just fine like this, as if you were wearing them.
Very cool.
Pretty neat. So let's see. We're at the 33-minute mark. What did they say? We have 35 or 40, Stephan?
We have 40. We can go 40. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So this one is this one's a challenge. No doubt about it. So I love that you sent me this one, because it's like, what area do I want to print? And so I decided to illustrate a really cool concept on this one, is that with a heat press, you can pretty much print any location if you have the proper know-how to get the job done. And so I want to get on this edge and do a unique branding location on this with the word inspire in that same soft foam product. And so in this case, though, I have big buttons here that are going to impact that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a larger pillow. Pillows are your friend. I use them a lot. So this heat press pillow loads onto there. And then let's see if this item can split and load over that large surface. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Not quite getting to the print area that I want, so let me pull it down. There we go. And so if we look here, these buttons are in such a position now, when I lock the press down, they're going to sink down into the pillow. And the seam structure that's up on here is going to sink into the pillow. So by using this pillow, you're able to do some more unique branding locations that kind of go with the garment, I'd like to say. Just makes it a little more retail. I think you said you like the, you know, the retail inspired place that these blank holes that you guys are going with these brands. And so decoration, you want to keep it matching the retail look.
For sure.
Okay. All right, so I'm basically feeling for the pressure and locking it down just to make sure I have good contact. And then I'm going to take this Inspire text, but again, it could be any design you want. And we're going to position it. In this case, I'm going to position it on an angle right down the side so it kind of flows with the direction of the buttons. We're pressing on the quilted area of this. Soft foam, again, is a cold peel, so I'm going to let it cool completely down before I peel the backing. But if you wanted to press on the fuzzy area as well, I mean, it would be just as easy to add a second location if we wanted. So if we wanted to take, this breast cancer awareness patch and further embellish this garment onto the fuzzy area because you want to decorate that location, it's quick and it's easy to do that. So let me just do that while we're waiting here. The sleeves are pretty easy to do. We have some presses that have a sleeve attachment that lets you do the full sleeve. But if your press doesn't have a sleeve attachment, and you guessed it, there's a pillow for that. And so all I'm going to do is, let's see, let me go opposite sleeve for my design. So I'm going to go with my right sleeve here. I'm just going to grab that in and slide it into the sleeve. Use my arm to kind of feed it through there to make sure it's completely into the sleeve. And then I'll lay that onto the pressing area, kind of supporting it here on the side, but making sure my arm's underneath. Let me double check my pressure. That looks good because we just had a pillow in there, keep in mind. So no big deal on the pressure. And then I'm going to take my patch, position it in the location that I want, and get some context to my garment to make sure it's straight and where I want it to be, and it is. And now, again, this is a sublimated patch. So I like to use one of these little disposable cover sheets that come with it. I'll protect the whole thing with the full cover sheet. And let's make some money.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, 12 seconds. This sleeve will be done. I'll show you that. One thing you have to do, I know when pressing Sherpa and different textured fabrics like this, it's no doubt you're applying heat and pressure. So they're going to mat down, but they're not damaged. Okay, so you kind of, before you deliver the garment to your customer, you really just want to brush that fabric back up real quick, kind of brush it against the texture. And so it doesn't, show that area has been matted down to where they think it's marked. And again, it has, because I've used a patch product similar to the cable knit beanie, it gets that coverage and it's going to be durable on there. It like just maintains the integrity of the logo.
That is great.
All right, one last peel here before we wrap up. So the Inspire design is down here. It's pretty much cooled down now, so I should be pretty good. I'm just going to grab the corner. See how easy it is? Just release it corner to corner. That looks sharpened.
Wow, that looks good. That looks really cool.
I think that might be my favorite. I'm glad we did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. I think I forgot to mention the socks at the beginning, so I'm really happy we got to fit those in because that's a frequently asked question there.
Yeah,
John,
so I was worried.
This has been fantastic. I know we've talked and we'd love to continue kind of this myth versus fact because there's so many brands. And, when you look at some of the retail brands, we would like to match their logos. So we look forward to doing some more of this. So again, really appreciate the time.
Yeah, I want to thank you again for having me on. This was so awesome for you guys to put on this event. And hopefully through this process, we've created some capable, confident decorators or promo sales folks that can say yes to jobs in the future to be able to increase their revenue.
Everything's possible. I love it. I love it. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you.
All right.